everyone, welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be Norsca and the Dwarves versus the Empire and the Wood Elves, who have picked their hill and they're going to stay on it near the edge of the map. Immediately, me and my ally both typed into chat. Same time, I just said, wow, and my ally just said, lol, what, like at the exact same time. But they're going to sit there on their little pretty hill for a while. So in terms of, in regards to our army, let's go over that. We have 3 Marauder Berserkers for my army, here, here, and here. Then we have 2 Marauder Champions with great weapons, 2 normal Marauder Champions. We have a Sorcerer of Death, and then being led by Wolfric on a horse. Behind those, we have 3 Marauder Hunters with Javelins. I have 2 Norscan Ice Wolves, and then 2 Spearmen over, actually, yeah, 2 Spearmen over here. Right there and right there. So I did like a mostly Marauder army, no Mammoths for me. We're just all Marauders all the time. My ally has 4 Longbeards being led by a generic Lord. We have 2 Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, 4 Quarrelers right here, a Hammer, 2 Slayers, and then 2 Cannons. And then our enemy players sitting up on this hill. Let's see, 2 Spears, 4 Great Swords, 2 Swordsmen, 5 Eternal Guard, Wildwood Rangers, more Spearmen over here being led by Durthu and a General. Yeah, General of the Empire. We have a Spellsinger of Life with all the spells, and we have 4 Hawk Riders, 2 Demigryph Knights with halberds, and 3 mortar teams. Not cannons, but mortar teams. And that's going to be their army. So this is a long fight, as you can see there. I'm going to actually skip around because there's not much that's going to happen. Let me tell you what happens between now and the next skip. My ally is going to move around here-ish, somewhere around this general vicinity of like the map. And they're going to start shooting into the mortar teams of our enemy. I'm going to just kind of be moving back and forth a little bit because I'm not entirely sure which way I want to attack from. But I think when you see me next, I'm going to be sitting right here. My javelins are going to be sitting right here because I'm warding off these Hawk Riders that are coming in, who aren't actually going to do any damage to me, don't worry. But I'm just going to ward them off with my javelins. You can see I'm already putting them over there. And then the enemy is going to pull forward their mortar teams to be about right there. And they're just going to fire the Dwarf Cannons. The Dwarf Cannons are going to fire back at them. And it's going to be like this for a long time. So I'll see you in an instant, but for me, it's going to be a few minutes. So here we are, 6 minutes later. My ally literally just got into position with the cannons. It's been a long match, and the mortar teams are moving up to try and get in range of the Dwarf Cannons. And then these 4 Hawk Riders move from over here, where they've been sitting for the past 6 minutes, fly across the field. And I don't have my javelins over here because I was like, well, my ally has 4 Quarrelers, and on their way over, I was like, you gotta move. And I was doing this, I'm like, you gotta move. So now these Hawk Riders are going to get some free damage on the Dwarf Cannons, which I assumed would be protected by their 4 Quarrelers. They weren't. So I tried to rush in the last moment because I wasn't expecting to have to actually protect them from these Hawk Riders. And then we're going to pull out, and then I'm going to pull my army back a little bit out of range of the mortar teams. And then the Hawk Riders, I do not believe they charge again. I think that was their only time. So I try to get my puppies over here with the frostbite because I want to try and pin them on the ground. Actually, maybe they do charge one more time. No. And then the Quarrelers are in range, but they're not going to fire! They're not going to fire! I was like, what are you doing? Fire! Just fire these guys! Do something! Damn it! So yeah, they didn't protect their own cannons, which was very confusing to me. So you can see I pulled my Marauder Hunters with Javelins over here, like, well, I guess I gotta protect your cannons then. But then the Hawk Riders are going to go over here, so I'm going to try and shadow them with my Javelins. They're not actually going to really do anything. And I think my Javelins eventually end up back in this forest for the foreseeable future, as my ally is going to just skirmish against these 3 Mortars, who are going to skirmish against the Cannons. So again, this has been your update on the battle. I'll see you soon. Alright, so another 6 minutes later. It has been, how long has it been? 12 minutes? 14 minutes, I think, since the start of this thing. We have one of the mortar teams broken over here. The other 2 are still on their mortars, firing at my ally, who has now almost used all their ammo on the mortar teams. I've tried to apply pressure a couple times with my Norscan Ice Wolves to try and ambush the, or not ambush, but just kill these mortar teams. The problem is, though, their Hawk Riders are nearby, and I didn't want to charge my whole army up and get swarmed by 2 different armies, so I'm like, well, I guess, you know, I just let my ally do this thing. But now I'm just getting so impatient because it's been, you know, 14, 15 minutes of me just sitting here, because if I go forward, then I could die. Like, I could maybe win, I don't know, but I'll probably lose a lot. So I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna finish this because they're still using the ammo they have on these like 5 guys that are left. So I'm gonna move up my javelins to try and kill them because so far this player has shown a very high level of like caution when it comes to my javelins. They always move their Hawk Riders far away from my javelins whenever possible. They outdistance my javelins technically, and they could get a salvo in and just kind of skirmish my javelins down, but they're super afraid of them. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to move up here. And it's been 15 minutes and their army has not moved an inch. So I'm like, well, I don't think they're going to charge down the hill right now. So I'm trying to finish these mortar teams off so that my ally can focus on something else other than the mortar teams with their ammunition, but they've now just basically all but spent it. So the Hawk Rider's going to go over here, do a round of firing on like a berserker who I'm sticking in the forest. We're going to flank them over here, then they're going to run away because again they're afraid of my javelins. All these bow fire doesn't really do much because they're hitting the trees for the most part, and then they're going to run like, oh shit, there's javelins coming. I stick one over here to try and finish off this mortar team, which once again got back on its one mortar left. Dwarf cannon is still firing at it? Or are they firing at someone else? I think they're firing at great swords. So I'm like, you know what, they gotta move, right? Because they've lost their mortars. But at the same time, we've lost our cannons. And so I told my ally, like, listen, just move your corridors up and just start raining fiery death upon, well, not fiery death, but crossbowy death on them. And they said, okay. Because they, again, have not moved an inch. And since they have not moved an inch, I moved my army, you know, pretty close. And then I'm going to move Wolfric over here and start doing his ship spell very soon. I'll just, instead of skipping entirely, we'll just fast forward so you can see the movements at this point. So yeah, it's been almost 20 minutes, and I've not really done anything except for watch this skirmish fight. Pretty, you know, getting pretty impatient. So we're going to send Wolfric up here. Again, we are basically at the edge of the map. Demigryph Knight's going to start coming, but I'm like, haha, suckers, take this boat. And they're going to take that boat. They're going to take it pretty hard. They took that boat. Then I'm going to pull back, throw my javelins over here, get my spearmen up here, and then the Demigryph Knights and the Hawk Riders are going to be like, well, nah, we were just kidding, bro. We don't want to actually chase you. So they're going to pull back, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. But the Spell Singer up here is finally going to start getting into the action. They're going to cast some Awakening of the Woods, and then a Dweller from below. This is going to be the Awakening spell. My ally's still getting their corridors in range to try and shoot their Eternal Guard, I think. The next spell will be the Dwellers. And I want you to see what happens when they cast a Dweller spell on me. You see this thing go down? You see them moving? There you go. If you want to know how to counter the Dweller spell, this is what you typically got to do. Whenever you see an aura, especially of this size, and you know that they have a life spell user, and you check them and you see, oh, they do have a Dwellers. When you see this aura pop on your units, you just move. Meanwhile, over here, 4 Quarrelers raining death on these Eternal Guard are finally going to get these people to move off the hill. They're finally going to charge down the hill now that there's 4 Quarrelers firing at them and just wrecking their Eternal Guard. Here comes Dirthu, here comes more Eternal Guard and Wildwood Rangers. And so I'm like, you know what, let's do this. I'm going in. The Empire player still isn't moving, by the way. It's just the Wood Elf player. The Empire player is still going to sit here. I'm going to hit them with a second boat. So now their great swords are severely weakened. Their whole front line is severely weakened. Here comes the Demigryph Knight. Going to cast a Fate of Yuna on them with our Death Sorcerer, Death Shaman. Shaman Sorcerer. Here comes another Awakening of the Wood. Not nearly as scary as the Dweller spell. You see the Quarrelers doing some good firing damage stuff on these Hawk Riders. As my army is going to be charging in here. They're not going to get any charges back, I don't think. I don't think the Great Swords charged us. And then the Hawk Riders are actually going to pull back from the Quarrelers, and they're going to start and shoot at me. Actually, they're going to charge my javelins in melee. I'm going to have my puppies nearby because I know exactly what they're going to be doing. Because, of course, they're going to do this if they're moving this direction. Meanwhile, my Marauder Champion line and some of my Berserkers and Spearmen. Actually, the Spearmen were assigned on the Demigryph Knights. They just happened to chase them into the Spears. So I'm going to pull them back here, and they're going to engage the Demigryph Knights again. So here come the Hawk Riders. So I'm going to immediately pounce them with the puppies and the nearby Berserkers that I left right on top of my Javelins because I can see them coming. Then we're going to disengage the Javelins and do a ton of damage to these Hawk Riders. Meanwhile, down here, I sent one Berserker to try and assist my ally by killing this Wildwood Ranger. And right now, Dirthu and his Eternal Guard are not doing too well. Here comes Spell Singer of Life, which is not that great on melee, even on a mount. As we just continually kill all their Hawk Riders. They did some damage to my Javelins, which is okay. But now I'm going to get my javelins to throw some salvos into these Demigryph Knights, who I'm stopping with these 2 spearmen. Wolfric is assisting against these spearmen, and like it was a Greatsword that was up here. My Marauder champion line is doing pretty good, considering that they don't really have many people to kill because they were mostly weakened by the ships. Another Fate of Buna here going on the 2nd Demigryph Knight units. Doesn't really do that much damage to them, really. I wonder if Spear Leech just does more than Fate of Buna at this point with them. I'm not sure. I haven't tested that. I'm sure someone has. But anyway, there goes my Javelin Fire into the Demigryph Knights. I'm sure I'm getting some friendly fire here on my Spearmen, but that's fine. They can take it. They're Marauders. Throwing in the Puppies. Frostbite them and do some more damage. Throwing in some more Berserkers. And we are breaking through their line here. Spellslinger is over here trying to keep the middle alive. But we're going to go on these Swordsmen. And then they are going to shatter. Demigryph Knight shatter. General of the Empire, I think I killed it. No, I'm killing him. We did the Wolfric special ability over here, and then we've just been dueling him and just murdering him. And over here, Dirthu is going to fall. Their Eternal Guard falls, and then that's going to be a shatter. Man, I never get it. I never understand the need to just sit on your hilltop no matter what is happening. As soon as I saw the enemy, well, honestly, this kind of worked out, not necessarily in their favor, but the 3 mortars probably should not have taken all of the ammo of the cannons. Like, the cannons should have been targeting probably more, like, high-priority targets. But, I mean, it's fine. You can take the mortar teams, whatever, it's fine. You're going to take them out before they take you out. So that was just a very long, prolonged engagement that I don't think really needed to happen, but it did. But even after they lost their mortars, they still just sat on a hill. Like, the hill's gonna, like, the hill is some savior, like some deity that's going to be like, it's okay, I got you, friend. And, like, it doesn't. It's just terrain. It's not even real terrain. It's a video game. It's just some, like, invisible walls that have been textured with dirt and shit. It's not going to save you. Just leave the hill. It's not a big deal. How many videos have you seen of me charging up a hill like a steep cliff and kill them? Because it's not going to save you. But some players like, I gotta have this hill. Like, why? Just why? I don't get people's love with the hills, man. It's just terrain, man. Just leave it. If you're being outranged, just leave. Leave it. Anyway, Wolfric got 151 kills, mostly with his boats. My Marauder champion line killed a much weaker Greatsword line because they got hit by boats. They didn't really have much to deal with the Berserkers. Javelins did some damage. Puppies did some damage. Death Machine for you. Their cannons got a lot of kills. Quarters got a lot of kills. Longbeards held the line, and Slayers killed Dirthu along with the Hammers. And then for the enemy player, their Hawk Riders got some okay kills, I guess. I don't know. And then the Demigryph Knights killed a bunch of Spearmen there at the end. So, good game to Death Machine, Laz, and Ioner. Just leave the hill. Let's go watch cinematic view of like the last 3 minutes of when the battle took place. Viking ship death. And the Wolfric's like, I'm out. Also, they're very defensive formation. Like, they weren't even protecting archers. There's no one up there anymore. Like, the mortar teams are gone. Very strange. There's the remnants of the mortar teams. Coilers coming up.
Making my way! Quickly now!
I'll be there.
Yes, Lord!
And then we have the Dweller spell.
That's what the master
All
has
good.
said!
Now our masses are stronger.
Onward! With
Looks
speed!
cool. Just like these
Is
dudes.
that all you've got?
I do like to look at the Marauder champions.
Moving out! Yes, Lord! Making my way!
Every time Wolfric says that, I think I mentioned this before, I think of that damn song, Make My Way Downtown. Something dun, 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 I'm homebound. Every time he says making my way.
Load into position!
Literally every time.
Fight the beast in the air.
Will succumb! Very well. Loading!
There goes that second Viking longship. Yeah! Dwarves are probably like, why is there a Viking longship? Or not Viking, I guess. Norscan longship? Why did we just see that? Longbeards, what up?
Positioning.
I will. Run, you dog! What? They're pushing in the rear! Kill them! Kill them!
Get in there, champions!
Magic is chaos!
My gods, go! Get them! Your will! I hear you! Mortal fool! Captain! Take it, Stamina!
Is that all you got?
These puppies are feasting!
Shamanic. Death.
For chaos!
God, those puppies are huge.
Eat your soul! Charge! Throw an axe!
Decapitate!
For chaos! Pokemon! Yes!
Slaughter! No time wasted.
And that does it, everybody. So thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone.